"We had a report about you from the gate agent, so I'll need you to wait right here," said the purser, voice cool and clipped as she stopped mid-aisle, her navy skirt perfectly pressed, clipboard snapped shut as punctuation. The hush that followed pressed against the plush of first class. A suitcase wheel thunked against tile. Someone's boarding pass fluttered to the carpet, caught in the polished shoe of the man at 2C. The scent of coffee mingled with citrus hand sanitizer. Heads turned, but only a few held their gaze. The quiet murmur of other passengers, the mechanical exhale of the air vents, and the tremble in the purser's fingers as she drew a line across her manifest. Someone was watching for confirmation, but she didn't look up. Malik folded his black travel umbrella with practiced care, settling it inside the rim of the seat. His ticket was visible on the armrest beside his phone, a series of calendar notifications, text message icons, and the Yale blue silkscreen logo peeking from a laptop sleeve tucked under his forearm. In the seat pocket, half-slipped, a stack of marked orchestral scores, the corners softened by countless read-throughs. She blocked the window, heel-angled defiant, clipboard wedged between her and the aisle. "You'll need to answer a few routine questions. Do you understand, sir?" Her eyes flickered once, landing on his carry-on. The badge dangling from his keys read nothing but the letter A. Her hand didn't leave the manifest. Malik, choosing his words with the same care he gave each phrase at the piano, replied, "What's the report about?" She barely paused, voice nearly flat. "Security flagged your upgrade, and there was an issue with your credit card on file. We'll sort it, but I can't let you settle in yet." He drew a breath, glancing across the aisle as the second hand on his watch swept below the 6. He remembered the way Principal Jenkins at Roosevelt High had steadied her voice when parents flooded the concert hall, asking him to do the welcome speech before the announcement that shattered half of what he'd built. That memory, sharp and uninvited, hovered like the glint of stage light. He looked outside. The jet bridge quivered as ground crew loaded the last cart. "Let us be precise," Malik said. "My documents are in order." 12 syllables, nothing wasted. The purser adjusted her clipboard. "We'll see." She gestured at her colleague to stall the beverage service, glancing back at the cockpit, waiting for confirmation that never came. Boxes ticked, the window slid open. A notification glowed against his palm, a subject line, "Final deadline confirmation," flickering under unread emails. His finger tapped the home button, then stopped. 6 minutes until doors close. "Let's keep this professional," she said. "Please don't move." Across the aisle, a phone camera clicked on, loop open. He pressed the computer bag closer, knuckles whitening. In the 4 years since his conservatory debut, Malik had learned the sharp discipline of stage presence. Smile before you're ready, never let the room hear you hesitate. He'd watched conductors diffuse tension with a glance or inflame it with a word. But today the arena was 3 rows of first-class seats, each face a jury of strangers, each moment measured against the calendar's relentless pace. The purser returned, lips compressed as she disabled the overhead light. "Security will need a word." There was no invitation in her tone, only the brittle patience of someone counting down to offload. Malik reached for his tablet, thumb hovering over a folder marked contracts buried under tour dates and digital scores. He caught the reflection of his own face, tiredness half hidden by posture and angles. He set the tablet on the tray table as he'd seen his father do before a disciplinary hearing, maintaining dignity by ritual if not by circumstance. The intercom buzzed. "We anticipate an on-time departure. Please take your seats, stow your items. This is your final boarding call for EWR Flight 583 to Cancun." The purser checked her watch, voice sharpened by urgency. "You heard that, decision time." He said nothing. She leaned in, voice lowering. "We get surprises sometimes in this cabin, you know. Reservation issues, upgrades that don't match. A heads-up saves us all trouble." He paused then. "Mistakes happen, that's not this." Her leg bounced, clipboard nudged up half an inch. A new face appeared, a woman, brow knit, phone in hand. She hesitated, then tapped record. Beside her, the journalism pin on her lapel glinted, a teacher's, not a reporter's, but precise. "Miss, is there a problem here?" the teacher asked, low but clear. The purser's smile flicked on, cold as glass. Not yet, she replied, voice loud enough for the row behind. But we have to be thorough for everyone's comfort and safety. A man at 3B, suit pressed but collar askew, looked away, then stood, as if deciding whether to change seats or defer. Outside, the last drop of rain rattled against the porthole. Malik glanced at his unread messages. No more time. The laptop, reflecting his hands, was already open. The tension thickened, nothing resolved. The woman with the phone didn't look away. Trigger pulled, escalation began. The purser shifted. As I mentioned, we had a report. There's a discrepancy with your booking number and the gate notes. I'm going to have to check your identification again. Her new tick, ending sentences midpoint, letting the weight fall onto the listener. Malik nodded, sliding his driver's license and boarding pass across. The purser scanned both with her tablet, eyes darting, not quite reading, more like searching for mistruths. A flash, his mother handing him a program after his Juilliard audition, her thumbprints visible on the cover, whispering, "You've earned your place no matter who tries to nudge you out." In the present, he focused on his breathing, a pianissimo and a swelling symphony. The purser's tone grew clipped. "Your payment method doesn't match our system. I'll need the card you used for this reservation." He handed over a sleek metal card. For a second, she hesitated, seeing the estate name, then hid her reaction. "If you have any other documents, confirmation email, perhaps?" She wasn't smiling. From the second row, the journalist teacher's voice warmed. "I just want to say this seems highly irregular. We've all scanned our tickets. Why is this taking 10 minutes with him?" Her phone angled higher now, comments began to trickle. Just 50 viewers, but watching, recording history. "Ma'am, please don't interfere. Security checks aren't for discussion." The purser's jaw set, her gaze never quite meeting the teacher's. Another bystander, a middle-aged man in khakis, piped up, "Just let them do their jobs. No one wants delays." The teacher turned, camera steady. "The only delay is this inspection. Why not check all of us the same way?" The purser's cheeks burned red, a shade below anger. She turned to Malik, voice testing, "Any chance you use someone else's points to upgrade?" Malik deadpanned, "No." Someone's soda can hissed open, masking the smallest quiver in her next words. A ripple through the row, perhaps support, perhaps irritation. The teacher's camera lens never faltered. The purser pushed one more step. "It's just for protocol. We wouldn't want trouble en route to Cancun. I hope you're not going to make this harder for everyone, sir. These are stressful times." Malik finally looked up, meeting her eye. "Is there a reason this is only for me?" A muttered exchange in the galley, then silence. No one moved. The teacher's phone light stayed steady. Malik's hands stilled. That was all it took for the moment to stiffen, to set like wet cement, resistance visible in every inch of the scene. The purser could have relented. She doubled down. "All right, we'll need to verify your loyalty account too, just procedure." Malik's forehead dipped toward the tray. He'd heard stories like this, told in gradients. He remembered the moment he lost his position at the Foundation's music board, a rumor before an email, a whisper before a process. The burn in his stomach matched then and now. He sent out a silent signal, "Stay seated." Inside, a counterpoint warred. Should he comply or risk losing something larger than this contest of authority? A little girl watched from across the aisle, finger pressed to her lips. Malik's hand hovered over his duffel, almost a retreat, then paused. The sense memory of stage fright flickered. The cut of loss, quiet but absolute, echoed in his head. He blinked, considering could he afford another battle. A single notification vibrated into his palm, a reminder chiming for a meeting labeled simply, Monday, New York City, 8 a.m. He closed his eyes 3 seconds, the rhythm of the intercom matching his pulse. Should he move, start again somewhere less threatening, somewhere quieter, somewhere without every eye watching? He unzipped his bag, the gesture halfway to conceding. His elbow brushed a sheaf of contracts, unsigned, edges creased, a physical weight. The teacher, phone steady, locked eyes with him as if urging him not to yield. The moment cracked, Malik inhaled once more, zipped his bag shut, placed it on the floor, and straightened, hands folded over his lap. He pressed the laptop spacebar, illuminating the home screen. His posture said, "I'll wait." Perhaps to her, silence meant victory. The purser's lips curled, shallow triumph. She gestured for her colleague to fetch security. Malik's jaw set, fingers splayed over the keyboard, still but resolute. No one else moved. He would not step aside. Outside, the whine of the jet bridge retracting signaled minutes to departure. Intercom, cabin crew, prepare for cross-check. The urgency in the voice told its own story. Delays would not be forgiven. The purser glanced at her watch, then at the manifest, finger skipping a line. If you're not sorted in 5 minutes, we may have to offload you preemptively. Company policy. His laptop flickered, a calendar full of shifting appointments, one bolded in red. Estate execution, 9 a.m. Documents pinged open, financial reports, legal letters, subject lines capped in all caps urgency. The purser never faced the screen, her world constrained to scanned codes and half-explained delays. On the screen, a thread of blue bubbles burst. Status on the trial prep, they're stalling, we need confirmation before Monday. The teacher's video now had over 400 viewers, comments scrolled with suggestions, hashtags percolated. The captain emerged, white shirt collar crisp under navy epaulets. He set feet in the aisle, voice neutral. Is there an issue requiring my attention? The purser exhaled hard. Just a question on this traveler's status, sir. Some discrepancies between the gate notes and the manifest. I'm following up for full compliance. I'd like security to review the booking and payment details. The captain faced Malik. Your license, sir. His eyes, practiced at reading faces, assessed without settling. Malik passed document and boarding pass forward. The captain scanned both. Thank you. Anything you'd like me to know? Malik's reply clipped but clear. All documentation is valid. May I ask under what regulation this process is extended only to me? The captain's eyebrow flickered, surprise, respect. Just a moment, he said, stepping aside, phone in hand. He dialed. This is Captain Reed on 583 Newark to Cancun. Passenger at 2A, name and loyalty number in manifest. Purser flagged payment irregularities. Need real-time confirmation from ground. A pause in the line. Captain's fingers drummed a triplet on the doorframe, eyes narrowing at each answer. Yes, that's correct. No, he presented all matching ID. The card matches the name on the manifest. I see. Yes. Confirmed as of this morning, multiple times, thank you. He glanced up, uncertainty tracing his features. The purser twitched, clutching her clipboard, lips drawing thin. Maybe have them clarify the loyalty number, sometimes the system, she began. The captain cut in, ground says all documentation is valid, upgrades correctly processed, payment processed by the holding entity. Are you requesting anything further? She shot a look to the galley, shrill. I'd still feel better verifying via our additional channel, sir. Sometimes our app glitches, we can't be too careful. The captain drew back, weighing. Is there a known cause for suspicion besides the flag from the gate? The purser's fingers crept to her collar. We had a detail, sir. Someone at the gate believed there was an issue, no specifics, just a feeling. That's why I'm thorough. He nodded, not yet convinced. Thorough is good, discriminating less so. Let's sort this quickly. The teacher's camera zoomed in. 5,000 viewers watched. The silence settled thicker than insulation. The captain paced, his call connected anew. Compliance, this is Captain Reed. Yes, it's urgent. Can you clarify the booking executor for seat 2A? Thank you. Yes, full background. Malik sat, spine against the seat, hands still as stone. The only movement, a slow exhale warming cold air. The teacher's camera caught it, a single moment of stillness in a churn of activity. On the line, only the captain's voice tense. That's confirmed. Wait, pause. Who is the estate holder tied to this card? A beat, captain's eyes widen a shade. Repeat, please. Yes, I see. The purser's clipboard clattered when she set it down. Her thumbnail skated over the edge, a pretense for not seeing the stairs. The flight attendant from the rear stepped forward, brow furrowed. "Everything okay?" eyelin low, nearly contrite. The captain disconnected, voice flattening. "The executor and primary creditor of this airline's outstanding debt executed this booking as his direct right. Passenger at 2A is the legal executor of that estate." No one spoke. Someone's phone clanged to the floor. Another shuffled a notebook shut. Malik watched the beads of condensation slide down the window, unmoving. The captain returned to his intercom, checking one last time. The purser lingered, white at the knuckles, eyeing the door, unsure where to look. That hush, that new density in the air, held all the meaning. A man behind, previously muttering about delays, now hunched small in his seat. The woman in khakis from row 1 pocketed her phone, unable to look up. Then the laptop pinged. On its reflective screen, a Zoom call launched. Large legal team, dozens of faces. The partner at the center, red tie unmistakable, spoke. "Malik, we've got the court on standby. The judge needs your execution attestation in 20 minutes. You still on course?" The executive, a face from the airline's own board, appeared in the grid. "Mr. Ellis, apologies. Our company is aware of your status as the holding estate's primary executor and our chief creditor. Was this process initiated against your direction?" The teacher's camera swept the room. Viewers 100 and climbing. Malik nodded to the screen. "I'm en route. Any delay here impacts the federal restructuring hearing for Monday morning." The airline executive's voice, pixelated but sharp. "Captain, please facilitate Mr. Ellis' journey without further delay. We deeply regret any inconvenience. Miss Caro," he addressed the purser, "this will have repercussions." At repercussions, the purser's frame wilted. She pressed against the bulkhead, knees unsteady, clipboard hanging loose. Her colleague, eyes on her shoes, edged away, careful not to touch her arm. A man who minutes before had snickered at the commotion now avoided all eye contact, wallet clutched so tightly his knuckles paled. Malik regarded the cabin, gaze level. "Thank you, shall we proceed with departure?" The purser's jaw failed her, lips opening without sound. The teacher's camera caught the whole tableau, no edits required. And still the clock kept time. Malik stood, gathering his things. A child's toy car tucked into the aisle nudged his foot. Its owner scooped it up wordlessly, eyes huge in awe. He passed the purser, who stood locked in place. "This could have ended differently," he said softly. A pair of flight attendants at the galley held her gaze, then averted it. One whispered, just above a whisper, "Maybe we all should have spoken up sooner." The teacher's livestream surged past 300,000, comments scrolling so fast none stayed more than a second. Malik's last look, he did not glance back. "Please accept our apology," the purser finally managed, voice brittle. He only nodded, then stepped into the jet bridge. The air outside was cool, shifted from the artificial chill of recirculated cabin air to the low, honest scent of airport concrete. In the terminal, a member of the airline's executive team waited, blue folder in hand, eyes scanning every passing uniform. "I am so sorry, Mr. Ellis," she said, brow creased, hand extended, lips trembling at the edge of authority and regret. "There will be consequences, personally, institutionally." He held up a finger. "Consequence is policy, it doesn't erase memory." They exchanged no more words. The curb outside was wet with fading rain. A black sedan idled. The driver opened the door, tipping his hat. "Still on time, Mr. Ellis?" Barely, Malik replied, his focus returning to the present. He dialed in, voice rolling over city traffic. "I'm on my way, no further issues. Monday is still a go." A woman's assured voice, "All lined up, Malik. The estate is ready, the restructuring team briefed. You handled yourself as always." He said, "Let's move forward." The engine hummed. Out the tinted window, Newark faded, a city cycling into fresh light. The journey continued. Within 48 hours, repercussions crackled across the airline's boardroom in Atlanta. Chief Executive Officer Sloan arrived 20 minutes late, tie askew, 27% shaved off the company's market cap since the incident. Executive Counsel Mendez slammed her folder to the table. The ground team triggered a discrimination crisis in first class, she snapped. 15 million views on the live stream within 12 hours. 3 class action firms have filed exploratory holds. Chief Commercial Officer Pratt tried to interject. Damage control, public statement by end of day, private apology to Mr. Ellis. Suspension for everyone involved, especially Caro. Not enough, said Mendez. We need a 7-figure settlement and an external monitor in all premium cabins. We're reviewing 610 passenger interactions last year, all flagged. CEO Sloan sighed, running a palm over creased notes. Board's demand, immediate congressional testimony, overhauled first-class bias training, all policies to affect 2,200 cabin crew region-wide. Prepare resignation protocol if the hearing goes against us. Mendez added, low, DOJ oversight is now permanent, 90 days to comply or forfeit competitive slots on 3 international routes. 1 week later, a CNN anchor's clipped tone echoed across hotel lounges. Breaking, Sunfield Airways faces record scrutiny after a viral discrimination livestream drew over 15.7 million views. Stock plummeted by 27%, erasing nearly $3 billion in value. The CEO will testify at Monday's congressional hearing, where a staff-led policy change affecting over 2,100 employees is expected. Trending, fly with dignity. Viewer count froze at 16,781. One for every person who'd ever been asked to prove they belonged. Room 1804, New York District Courthouse, Monday morning. Malik stepped through security at 7:54 a.m., calm in the regulated hustle of federal halls. Colleagues greeted him, one whispering, "Heard you had quite the flight." Malik allowed himself a brief smile. "Let's focus on the agenda. The estate comes first," he said, laying a signed attestation atop the stack, courtroom clock precise, not a note off. By week's end, Sunfield settled for $8.2 million, agreeing to court-ordered monitor status. Flight attendants, pilots, ground staff, over 1,800 professionals, received mandate notices outlining detailed accountability reforms. On every screen, numbers multiplied. One wrong turned into thousands set right. 6 months later, a different morning. First class, another airline, another Newark departure. Malik slid into his seat, settled a slim music portfolio onto the tray, met the eyes of a smiling flight attendant. She didn't pause at his ticket. "Good morning, Mr. Ellis, water or coffee before takeoff?" He smiled back, "Thank you, water's perfect." The cabin moved on, no one stared. History bends each time an assumption fails. There are invisible walls made not of brick, but of ritual and excuse. There are spotlights too, some wielded by bystanders brave enough to press record. Because when false certainty is exposed, accountability isn't only for the powerful, it's for the silent witnesses, the wavering and the watching. A single act of refusal ripples outward. Systems shift. Those who insist on dignity remake the ground beneath all our feet. If this story moved you, share it with someone who's ever been told to wait their turn and let them know dignity isn't granted by uniform or title. Subscribe for more true accounts of power and consequence. These stories reach further with every view. Today, you were the camera. Next time, you choose the frame. They will remember the silence after your words. The flight attendant placed the glass of water on Malik's tray with a gentle finality that seemed to announce, without a word, that here moments of grace were possible. The memory of the previous ordeal flickered, an undertow, not a wave, but its turbulence had receded. The seat beside his was empty for several breaths, enough for him to unfold a tablet, open a digital score, and sketch a line of notation in the margin before the cabin door clicked shut, and a passenger filled 2B. She was younger than him by a few years. Expression bedrock calm, headphones pressed around a coil of bright hair. She glanced at Malik's manuscript and smiled, then thumbed her name into the seatback screen, Maria Vlasquez. She said softly, "That's Mahler's fifth." He nodded, surprised. Most strangers guessed Chopin or Debussy. The adagietto reharmonized for someone who couldn't let go of the last 4 bars even when they should. Maria's eyes widened. "I know that feeling," she said. "My mom was a cellist. She always lingered on the end of Elgar when I was a kid, wouldn't play the final note, not in the house anyway." "And in performance?" he asked, curiosity layered into the question. She grinned. "Always," she said. "Prophecy belongs to the hall, but the last word is for home." The seatbelt sign chimed. The attendant passed, professional in her warmth. Malik noticed the subtle adjustments, how she helped an older man with his carry-on without fuss, how every interaction seemed weighed for fairness, not ostentation. She met his gaze once. His nod was small, a tacit recognition that even on the same carrier, 1,000 little choices define tomorrow's world. As the engine spooled up, Malik sipped his water, felt time uncoil. He toggled Do Not Disturb on his phone. Texts from legal stood unread. He was no longer beholden to every notification. Instead, he waited, eyes shut as wheels chattered on the taxiway, and for the first time in too long he found himself composing, not reacting. Maria lifted her headphones, curious. "Have you always flown so early?" "Only lately, too many emergencies, not enough concerts or rehearsals." His voice was quieter than he expected, a hush that followed 6 months of scrutiny. She didn't fill the silence. Instead, she watched out the window as the dawn burned the last of the mist from the tarmac. "I almost lost my last job over a flight like this," she said finally. It's never just a logistical thing, is it? If you're different enough, travel is always a risk." He heard the unspoken questions, the echo of a viral video's legacy. "Did it get better?" he asked softly. Maria considered this a moment. "Not on its own. I changed carriers twice. Then I started recording every moment just in case. It works, but it's exhausting." He traced the curve of a handwritten note on his score. "You're owed your place," Mom had written him. "Recording is necessary," Malik said, "but it shouldn't have to be." She looked at him. "I saw your story, that clip went everywhere after Newark." A hint of uncertainty, respectful. "I never dreamed I'd see you in person." She paused. "Thank you for holding out. My cousin's a flight attendant. She says all the new hires reference what you did at orientation now." Malik blushed, but only a little. "It wasn't just me," he said. "It was the teacher. It was everyone watching, even the ones who said nothing. They had to live with it. Sometimes silence is witness. Sometimes it's an accomplice." Maria's grip tightened on her coffee stirrer. "I wish I'd said something once. I didn't, but your teacher did." He glanced sideways. "You ever wonder what happened to people like her, the ones who step up?" Maria smiled and, to his surprise, unlocked her phone, sliding it over. A video played. The teacher, older now, hair graying, eyes fervent at a school board meeting, reading a statement about accountability, systems, and how little things lead to greater justice. "She's organizing a conference now. She'll never go back to just teaching. She says she found a different kind of audience." A sense of quiet pride blossomed in Malik's chest, almost paternal but tinged with awe. "I owe her more than she knows." Maria's words grew firmer. "We all do." The wheels lifted. The city fell away below. Malik leaned back, letting the silence, shared, intentional, uncomplicated, settle between them. This, he realized, was what survival looked like. Incremental, unfinished, but unmistakably forward. When the plane leveled off, the attendant returned with breakfast orders. She set Malik's tray with a smile crisp as linen. No extra scrutiny, no special attention, simply a gesture of competence, of earned trust. She brought an extra ginger biscuit quietly and slipped a note under his juice. "Thank you. My niece wasn't afraid at her first interview. Your story made it matter." Malik blinked, pocketed the note. Beside him, Maria grinned, reading the gratitude over his shoulder. "See, ripples," she said. He lifted his glass. "To playing the long game," he offered. "To never doubting you belong," she replied and clinked his glass. Hours blurred by, meal service, casual conversation, companionable silence as clouds drifted past, stitched together by sunbeams. Malik and Maria exchanged stories, music, half-sketched dreams. He learned she was traveling for a teaching audition, nerves peeking through her composure. "If I get it, I'll be squeaking chalk in a Princeton classroom," she admitted, laughing. He reached into his bag and drew out an old program, the kind that belonged in a scrapbook. He scribbled a line on the inside flap and handed it to her. She read, "Every conductor needs a first violin. If your seat is ever in question, make the whole hall your orchestra. M.E." Her smile was unguarded, the rare kind that made the cramped cabin seem full of possibility. "You'll get an invitation to our first concert if I make it," she promised. All around them, other lives went on. The man across the aisle read a battered paperback, oblivious. A mother soothed her toddler with a soft hush. Behind them, a businessman typed furiously, unaware that the industry he'd spent 20 years in was quietly, irreversibly changing. Malik scrolled through his notifications, marking each urgent email as read. The latest wave of news alerts detailed the aftermath of the Newark incident. Further DOJ subpoenas, passenger testimonials, viral campaigns still gathering steam. Airlines' quarterly reports now included equity compliance as a line item, their PR teams citing systemic reform in every release. It felt abstract, victory a matter of process, not poetry. But the world was recalibrating, sometimes in unseen measures. His phone buzzed, the sender, his old piano professor, Dr. Sujata Roy. "Saw the news. Remember, when you play for a jury, silence is the loudest answer. Proud of you." Malik smiled, typed a brief reply, "It's your lessons carrying me. We'll see you soon. M." He powered down, tucking the phone into the seat pocket with finality. Outside, clouds shifted, breaks of blue appearing where minutes before there'd only been haze. Maria was reading her notes, lips moving in silent rehearsal. Malik reached over, tapping the score on his tablet. "Would you like to hear it?" he asked, and she nodded. He queued up a recording, his own performance, shaky with nerves but honest to the last note. Adagietto, yes, but with the final 4 bars rewritten, open and unresolved, a suggestion that every ending is also a beginning. Maria listened, eyes closed, head tilted so the dawn washed her features in gold. "Hope," she whispered when it finished, "you never played the last word." He shrugged, "I wanted the audience to imagine a future." She laughed quietly, "You gave us something to believe in." When the aircraft touched down, Malik gathered his things with practiced economy. The gate agent greeted him by name, not by mistake, and the breeze in the jet bridge was brisk, almost cleansing. As he exited, Maria caught up to him at the luggage carousel. "Do you still believe change actually lasts?" she asked, wrestling a battered cello case from the belt. He laid a comforting hand on the case. "Not always in a straight line, but today, yes, we got here, didn't we?" She looked at him, then to the lines of passengers slipping by, some harried, some expectant, none marked by uncertainty or dread. "I suppose we did." Her phone chimed, she glanced at it and smiled. "I got the job, classroom demo next week. Maybe tell your professor the baton's being passed." "I'll tell her," he said, chuckling. Their rideshares arrived in sequence, tires splashing puddles from an overnight rain. Maria turned, lifting her cello in salute. "If you ever want to play Mahler for a full house in Princeton, now you know who to call." "It's a promise," Malik said. Sometimes systems can't be mended, only remade, note by note, hearing by hearing, act by careful act. Malik strode through arrivals, his name unseen on any manifest, watched only by the sun slanting through high glass. The world pressed forward, agenda unpaused, but he moved with a weight shifted, a burden lightened. A week later, Malik entered a rehearsal room at Lincoln Center, new compositions tucked beneath his arm. The scene was ordinary only on the surface. Musicians tuning, page turns brittle, the conductor's baton setting a gentle meter. Malik was greeted with a nod by the concertmaster, who'd also flown in that morning, catching a flight that, 10 years earlier, he might have feared. The conductor, a woman in blue silk, tapped the podium. "Today's piece is about resolution after conflict, section leaders. Can I trust you all to watch each other and not just the baton?" A ripple of assent. Malik caught the illusion, so did others. The first note, tentative, expanded into confidence. Malik's part, written post-Newark, soared above the orchestra, a motif suggesting resilience, refusal, the possibility of forgiveness without forgetting. For the first time in months, he felt the pulse of music unencumbered by politics, by apology, by suspicion. He belonged not as an exception but as precedent, one hard one paid for in all those moments of poised refusal. During break, Malik stepped out onto the fire escape behind the stage, a midtown cacophony echoing below. His phone buzzed and he glanced at the alert. School districts across 5 states had adopted new anti-bias training, referencing the Newark incident as a needed turning point. His story had made it into a teaching module in Dallas, a seminar in Toronto, a debate at a university for systems and justice. He allowed himself a rare, unspooling smile. A message from the teacher appeared. "Thank you for not giving up your seat. We all sit a little more surely now." He texted back, "Thank you for being the camera, not just the lens." From across the street, a mural gleamed in morning light, a crowd, not just one, standing before an open gate. In the lower corner, someone had spray-painted, "Systems are stories, some made truer by witness." A cab horn startled him. Inside, rehearsal resumed. The conductor's call, ready for the second movement, was both invitation and affirmation. Malik placed his music on the stand, took one last look into the light and shaped the first phrase, certain now that every note mattered, that the smallest act amplified could make the world's silence resound with change. In the end, it wasn't a single performance, protest, or camera that shifted everything. It was the cadence of memory, the stubborn will to hold one's shape in the face of power, the echoes that travel from a jet bridge through institutions, through families, through the uncertain hearts of strangers. Airport lounges will forget the names, manifests change, policies amend. But the sound of witness, the slow dawning shame in silence, and the clear, sustained tone of dignity, they linger, unerasable. And sometimes, boarding quietly in the future, a child will find her assigned seat without flinch or doubt, watched only by her dreams, because someone before her insisted on not stepping aside. Outside the music hall that night, rain threatened before the concert but paused as Malik emerged, music bag dry, umbrella unopened. The city had changed, almost imperceptibly, a small courtesy at the coat check, a doorman tipping his hat just a little lower. It all felt different but not unfamiliar, as if some quiet part of the world had tuned itself to a truer key. Malik pressed record on his phone, for once not as witness, but as someone inviting others to remember. He spoke quietly to no one and everyone at once. Sometimes what holds us back isn't the rule, but the expectation of obedience to the unspoken. Challenge expectation, do it on the record. As he crossed the avenue, a group of teenagers passed, humming Mahler's theme, recently performed by a youth orchestra whose cellist grinned behind her borrowed instrument case. Malik glanced back at the hall, the city, the quickening dusk. The story went on, now and always, in the notes unplayed and the futures unwritten, carried forward in the resolve to stand, wait, and, when necessary, refuse.